This erased Flaubertian Gustav, in his place as the Moor in Petrushka, invading Vancouver, these Kush clubs, making more moolah than Goody Mob. I ought to enter the weed trade, watching the waves rage as the trees wave, watching rage displaced in a Greek play, cathartic, featuring Drake at Argos. Religiously making a habit of spitting these crazy raps amid reincarnated rabbits, lizards, snakes, and babbits, listening to Drake's new rap hit, interrogating Cratylus, divinity taking for granted, their idiocy sacred and planted, an evergreen unplanned as the id, spreading free secrets these branches, deliciously baking a planet of simple pastry this sandwich and little tasty snacks I hid, Easter eggs in these raps I spit, on secret tapes I'm can-lit, on eBay I'm valueless, this wizard fading into blackness, a Pinter play redacted, this sinister day, this savage, light of truth, sky blue, this lime and vermouth, this lime and vermouth. Rap's just the glorified word game, as Anne is just a normalized girl's name, a Scrabble of reporting why the world is lame, an absence of form and the higher purposes and aims. This diversion dream, uncertainty, these savage fields, perfectly unfurling these flags we steal, or capture rather, these black jaguars. Their momentum, plastic answers to the measurement, classic rappers, their clever quips, sand castles and the infinite writ large, silver cars in mid-air, the metropolis. These Paul Martins don't care if we dissolve as the mist, timely as the river, that perpetual motion machine, the brain, fiery as the tinder, the sexual devotion of Eve to Adam again, sapphic as the manic rapper detained and tortured for society's good, orgain, organic, this amplification of the meaningless, this sleepy trip into the deep, nothing in which we something, these crumbling structures, these utterly insufferable, punishing novels, these undercover deductive Aristotles, these Aquinas, these Dantes, theological Drake says, Kanye West, strong as the meth. Remember to remember the time came to eclipse, September, October, November with real time as it exists, outside our handling, the words untied from the calendars, the birds a random drama, and the sun's a banana. The clouds spell a language pattern, today's but a stanza in the poem of 2020, and the sky's a blue page, building on the nihilism in our new age, wiser than the wisdom of old science and religion, both torn asunder, as the flags we unfurl, those assumptions we bracket as Husserl. This life world's a good world, as I smoke the Kush curls. Before me it's unmysterious chaos. Rap like a savage, act black as the blackness, sapid as Gaddis, Mad Hatters and rabbits, these passages. Raps like Harvard, hard to get into. Raps like Star Wars, we're taught to get used to this art. As Shakespeare taking from Plutarch and his stupid heart. Raps like the Bible, theological, rapid as the Nile, these stately thought flows. Charitable with the freestyles and Oxfam. Lil Ghost Writer rapping in your church program. With Snoop and Dre and a Tupac hologram. With our weapon rhetoric we hunt the antelope. We're better than the peasants, those animals, those illiterate ghosts populating the globe. Believers blame the forest of lettered voters, the sea of flaming torches burning Lil Ghost Writer posters and records. These poachers had better ignore your quails, these Nimrods, door-to-door sales, this hip-hop. Have you heard the God Jehovah? Rain splashing on the pagoda as we rap in Shanghai, or rise in the morning and don the togas in another passage of space-time. Un mensonge, une chanson, these balls of zippy yards, une orange, un chaton, this Proteus changing forms, this cat was an orange, un chat black as the forest, holding his candle to mon âme, the wizard, my soul a dragon extraterrestre. Paddle in this river, my consciousness sleepily. Le chat creeping in the minuit devant couvert ou un ennui dans l'arbre de mon godly Pierrot lunaire. A Schoenberg of rap, a Homer of rap, golden as the lac, the lake, Canadian as that rapper Drake, a black flame. Un papillon we paint on the wall en franglais, making it new, these rhymes méconnus. J'avais cru to be true, this Canadian moose, this fantôme de l'écrivain, these Métis praying, these Trudeaus lying, these apes creating, ou plutôt dying lentement. These nouveaux trillionaires so beyond, so godly in their pensée, analyzing the rythme chanté, our rap so unlike their antic hay, those rappers of the mainstream and underground even, parce que je suis un underground demon, oh me nerves, this multiverse has me in a state entre les choses inexistantes et les choses créées, a shadow of a shape, a Sappho of mixtapes, le cadeau de l'été, ces matériaux of the day, these photons, this light, this sound of music, these illusions, les cieux bleuâtres et les anges chantant dans this pastor schizoid come, the collective subjectivity de Deleuze et Guattari, as the waters of the deep tomberont sur la terre. Les vagues will repeat upon the dock their pure despair, drowning everywhere the rising flood. Rhyming good, climbing up the vine, trapped on vinyl, his rise as the levels, highly venerable. Rempli d'eau, this grave aquarium, in tuxedos as they bury him, pour émouvoir les miroirs de nos oracles, to remove all your preconceptions and shackles, classical as your ordinateur to these quantum computations. Sacred as the pharaoh, born in Quebec and raised in Ontario, forced to protect the ways of these terrible black wings in the ghostly night, these mutant bananas traveling as Lil Ghost writer touring the Canadas. Vivid his time spent alone in a new town, sticky rhymes this heroine to slow you down. Trying to move through this beach, lying on Vancouver concrete, arm fractured in the humerus, this harm captured on the TV luminous, sleepy as the student is, serving coffee to these urban zombies, turning godly, this verbal tsunami, burning hotly and learning constantly. More German philosophy, these German Nazis, their existential phenomenology, staring at the mental anomalies as they occur on the page, as I scrawl with my left hand in green ink these letters into feelings, praying to the god of language to stay atop the playlists as number one. The change has come. The rap game is under my thumb. This monstrous laughter, underfunded yet sober as the rapper. How can this be? Welfare's the honest answer. It's an honor to be chosen to exist on this ocean as the freighter. Impossible to guess what one's neighbor believes God to be, godly as the sea. Poetry is evil, the moon is a thief. Paltry as the wind, playing with leaves. Altruism or negative greed. This electromagnetic MC, the positive end of poetry. Improving radically this weird artistry, moon pallid as the neo-Nazis. Sun turning purple the wind, blushing as the firmament, celebrating the florid moment, elevating the more important, throwing fireworks at your boredom, growing tired of this orange light, glittering as the oracle might, speaking as a book to the future, these Shakespeares among those losers, these Einsteins among the disenfranchised. I use cocaine because it's good for my art. I use cocaine because it's good for my heart. I'm not insane, I'm just abnormally sane. There's naught to gain in this recording in vain. Important as the vinyl central hole. Sort of divine, these gentle souls. Sort of divine, these gentle souls. snorting these lines in velvet robes. I use cocaine because it's good for my art. I use cocaine because it's good for my heart. I'm not insane, I'm just abnormally sane. There's not to gain in this recording in vain. Important as the vinyl central hole, sort of divine these gentle souls. Sort of divine these gentle souls. Snorting these lines in velvet robes. Exotic drugs, erotic as love, alcoholic as rum, bucolic as fuck. This weird Virgil herding the sheep, his spirit merging with eternity. Shot on his yacht by the Godfather's assassins. Not tall, dark and handsome. A prog rock Karl Marx on capitalism. Slothrop with all his hard-ons attracting the missiles. Dig these magic crystals in the dirt. Think, react with wisdom to the earth. Actor, rappers, rhyming Drake chatter as disaster after climate disaster shatters worlds. I use cocaine because it's good for my heart. I'm not insane, I'm just abnormally sane. There's not to gain in this recording in vain. Important as the vinyl central hole, sort of divine these gentle souls. Sort of divine these gentle souls. Snorting these lines in velvet robes. He's rapping, it's magical. In his Seattle castle, pay a visit, get hit with rap shrapnel. This barbarian with the babble, this anvil dragging down his rap flow. Boating on the watery loch, afloat as the yacht until stopped. A cassette playing Boris, an upset tent aflame in the forest. Meaningless as the porpoise I bore this, words flickering as the tongue slithering serpentine over rocks, red as the blocks, inveigling the black kids to praise Allah rather than play hopscotch, displaying the vocab of an Aesop rock, tearing the labels off, breathing his last post the fatal shot in his heart, lost in the dark as the spark, feeling smart, all the way down to his quarks. In this black life, this psycho you analyzed, this vital new rap devised, its expanding size as his brain operates thusly as the samurai's blade cutting decisively through the problematic bullshit, those fixed meanings, as the plants and animals analyzed by these Aristotles as the samurai bleeds on the marble his black blood, this reincarnated man of God, sleeping artlessly as plants and rocks outside a pharmacy, rapping his ass off for change. rage. This mutating stream of symbols deranged. As those truth-hating evil simpletons, we elevate, watch as they levitate, demonstrating an emptiness fraught as the atmosphere everywhere as COVID infects us. This polished rap dear to those avid readers, the lowliest among us. Illiterate as the dreaming Douglas firs, I hip-hop to the people, my customers. This free thought, this liberating verse, free as the robot to do as our words command. Lyrics brittle, clear and visible, weird crystal, simple as the wind blowing snows upon the conifers. These poetry publishers, odious as dairy products, wishing you a merry Godmas in language wretched, grabbing the elastic to stretch it, cabbage and lettuce. This rap unedited as the lightning bolt, this man uncredited his brightly gold, biting jokes Christ-like and manifold, expanding to the maximum, handling his handgun until he halts, battling the cameras with occult powers. Husbands and wives as fathers and mothers, coming alive their watercolors, upright apes these dog walkers, God lauders. Robert Frost with the honors couldn't outrock this hip-hop verse. Elegant roses entwined in a pattern, everyone knows rapper rhymes with this flapper. Popping bubbles of soap with a hat pin, God in the Hubble telescope laughing, crossing under the red rope unfashionably great as the sun. I don't need validation of this sapid wordplay and pun-sexual foreplay, sacred as the text of Oryx and Crake, as oranges and grapes his good taste, painting the wooden gate, feigning a look of hate as Iago, playing since the mirror stage these imagos, these babies dreaming empty dreams of wholeness, complacently eating with whole wheat bread their medication, like another hole in my head and blood spraying, making a statement, the play of drapes in the wind, and a spring fragrant. Greek guile this Homeric, freestyle so careless, this test of his metal these dead centuries, benevolently donating his blue blood on some island settling for untrue love, lost in space with a crew of players in the game of infinity, deeper than their levity, forgetting his Penelope's suitors with simple verbiage, wispy as the cirrus, peaceful clouds unserious, sleeping around an Odysseus. This wasted life adrift on the sea, fading light reflected on the sea, painting the night with starlight in the sea. This alien Christ walking on the sea, till he's shot in the knee, caught and released. This moon man entering the system, Superman letter S written on his chest, toucan feathers tickling for the pleasures. You can never know anything forever, so relax into the anxiety of preparing for death, and dare to live leftly, bending goodward and Godward, mentally descending idward and onward, into the song unrehearsed. Drinking water from a rock and honoring the gods in a syncretic muddle, stretching his muscles, getting more closely acquainted with the divine, ancient as time itself, rhyming in Elvish, this fantastic science fiction, lost in space with a crew of tribal and selfish men, poisoning his mind, this man of many turns, his odyssey never to learn, and as he passes on his toxic genes and philosophy, this marble green and blue, this art we see through, so too my rap music here startles with the truth. Flying from the earth, on these words I blurt, as the vapor caught on paper, these olden tones spoken by the chromosomes via mobile phones. These bonobos roam skeletons, cold to the bones, bioluminescent, trying to live in the present. Rhymes inelegant as the rhinoceros or elephant, arising from galaxies, shining black as the sea, random as the dream, as a jungle flashing green, embryonic in the uterus. These calls of the bluebirds, ironic as the future is in a godless universe. Awkward laugh, tall giraffe, gulp Shiraz, vomit in the cab, serving Drake, purple grapes, these invertebrates, carefully burning flags, hairs turning gray. Spitting these fluid boasts, these volts, useful notes, a toast to the telescopic focus of this little songster, cold as the ironic unfocus of the cinematographer, dark as the chocolate I taste, sharp as the crocodile face, rising out of the slime, this Longinus on the sublime, his nebulae verbal. Red and purple, the man a Gilgamesh, living to live in death. Water filtered fresh as this poet enormous, this organism in a system. This stroll through the forest, always adapting, this strange rapping. These fallen orange leaves crazily spinning in the wind. This modern formal piece displaying his fingerprints, confusing the simpletons. Relapsing into his past's bad cocaine habits, savage on the track with Coltrane jazz bliss. To rap or not to rap, vacillate as Hamlet, until back in the lab today with the sapid literature, active as Vesuvius. Isn't it romantic as it moves us to move thus? So casual this business is, and transactual his neologisms. These aren't the sort of rap cited in universities. This bizarre foreign math of the psyche, its perversity. Arguably an ordinary man despite his unearthly sculptural compositions. Pulsating words dangling from the branches, vulgar birds at play in the branches, talking their talk, somber as the pause. Honoring the laws as he breaks them with piety, soft as a rock as he DJs at the library. Contradictory as God, we replay these designed to be recycled, never finally to be buried forever. These vital, clever rhymes carrying pleasure. Long ago, in another universe, another universe. Guide me, God, in making this great poem. High modern vacationing on the way home. This wild author of their hatred of his strange tone, via rhymes offered as payment his name Joe, who long ago in an antecedent universe grew strong as the oak, unbalanced as his humors, nuanced as the poem, these dried tubers, tying the noose this verse he's embedded in, laser beams he's shot with as he goes. Groovily suave Joe, pursued through space in his pink octahedron, by blue pyramids blinking neon green on and off. These Japanese officers, the cops, like peacocks, till Joe hyperspeeds off through a wormhole, escaping his punishment, a verbal hanging, for the explosion of a Japanese moon city called Tokyo, coldly shattered into trillions of specks, spectral as the ghost. Joe demands that his pink spaceship land on the nearest inhabited planet, that's Canada, orbiting a red star, born where the dead are at large. He crashes in the nation of Saskatchewan, this black swan. A farmer in his field beheld Joe's spaceship fallen, startled as the deer watching emerge Joe coughing in a cloud of dope, horns on his forehead, proud of his approach to war as the war vet. His long strife, his little red Corvette, his pop life, his here come the warm jets. This alien crash landed on the planet Canada. This stranger fastly rapping his rap ballad to this man in a field of orange flowers. Soon they're both snorting powders, ignoring corporate power. This humanoid with horns, paranoidly warned by the farmer. You can't use drugs like this in Canada, it's frowned on. Joe cackles in reply and plays a loud song on the pink octahedron speakers. So I've landed on a planet of weirdos, orbiting a red star close to death. This planet Canada, my home for a bit, until the pink ship is fixed and I return to the home planet. But for the time being, this is so romantic, this life stranded. The Canadian farmer zombified, hooked on Joe's space drugs, a strong high. The look on his face buzzed as the drunken butterfly or the lover of angel dust. Canadians live on multicolored flowers they devour. Canadians are bound to their earth. Oof, that's the sound of their hurt. A town entire of cowards, sir, says the pink ship to Joe. A society of miserable primitives, drunk off their ignorance. Canadians pray to Trudeau Corporation, builder of replicants. They know you're an alien and specialist in magic and space drugs. Canadians surround the spaceship demanding drugs. A throng of zombie hippies, the song hypnotistically making art of their misery, addicting them to these mysteries. Using language incorrectly. A throng of zombie hippies, using this song hypnotistically making art of their misery, addicting them to these mysteries. Language incorrectly. Using language incorrectly. Canadians defect and freely use my space drugs and become zombies. Using language incorrectly, Canadians befriend our hero and use space drugs to understand God and be godly. Language incorrectly. Canadians using language incorrectly and becomes using language incorrectly. Using language incorrectly, Canadians befriend our hero and use space drugs to understand God and be godly. Using language incorrectly. Using language incorrectly. Joyous, these gourds on sticks, annoying the purists, the savagery over the canvas flowing. This rap I'm throwing at the dartboard. Zombie hippies holding cardboard, political artworks. These glittery madmen mythic as Joe stay on the planet Canada, depicted in paintings and song as the great King Kong. Modern art isn't so pretty, body parts litter the city, yet there is wisdom in this hip-hop, thrilling this Hitchcock, animal as the birds. Dazzled by the words, how bright his eyes were, the mind a geyser letting hot consciousness flow, following suave Joe into a Toronto of the soul, rocking to and fro, stomping on his foes, dancing about the bonfire as the red star falls dying on the horizon. In purple and green, these activists murdering and eating the capitalists, imagining this fashionable hip, these madmen and women, as we unite and murder the 1%, waves of flames, a people incensed, so these joyous waves of women and men, high off Joe's influence, lubricous, this ludicrous to their studious, these rubies a-glitter, toonies asleep on the river bed, groovy as the being we too easily forget, among the seductive flow of mundane nonsense, the dream